Hey guys, something crazy just happened today, and I've seen this coming for a while. My YouTube account, Halfthrottle, has hit 10 million views total across all of its videos, 300 something videos. So I thought I should do something really cool for that, but then I couldn't think of anything, so instead I hastily assembled what I call the Museum of Halfthrottle. And I'm going to show you some souvenirs that I've collected over my travels around the world and some of the equipment that I still have that I started out with, that I don't really use anymore, and that if I was smart I would sell and use that money to buy new equipment, but instead I don't. I hold on to it until it's dead. So I'll start from the beginning. This is the R1200 GS that I purchased when I came home from Iraq to ride to Panama and back. I bought it, it was a 2005, I bought it in 2006. It had about 10,000 miles on it, and it has just over 60,000 miles now, which isn't too shabby considering it sat in storage for 2 years while I lived in Panama and rode a KLR 650. About the same time I bought this motorcycle, I bought this MacBook Pro. This is what I carried with me when Mitch and I rode to Panama and back. It's now just pretty much a paperweight. It doesn't really power up anymore. The screen doesn't turn on. But I don't know what to do with it. I feel bad throwing it away. I don't want to call myself a hoarder, but putting this museum together made me start to think I might be a hoarder. Mitch and I also bought this camera. This is the camera that I filmed all of our adventures on in Panama with. Mitch and I both bought one of these because it was the cheapest camera that we could find. I had no thoughts about video quality. This was before YouTube was in HD. This was before GoPro. You couldn't buy a helmet camera in 2006 when we went on this trip. Beginning of 2007. So GoPro, I think, was making cameras, but they were like still cameras that were small that you could strap to whatever and take pictures while you surfed. So we made a lot of good videos with this. I think it still works as far as I know. It's pretty dirty and muddy because last time I took it out, I got splashed by a muddy puddle. But I just wanted something nicer because YouTube was now in HD, and so I upgraded from this camera to that camera. Right before I moved to Panama, I bought that camera and that microphone and that tripod, and that's what I used for all the videos in Panama. And that's been a great camera, still is a great camera, but now I've upgraded to a Panasonic GH3 because I wanted to be able to change the lens out and do cool stuff with that. So this is, speaking of, I just skipped forward, but this is the jacket that I wore on the trip from Panama to back. It's from Panama to Utah, from Utah to Panama, something like that. I bought this from a motorcycle shop in Germany when I was there with the National Guard just before we went on our trip. We saw this motorcycle store and I thought, I'll go buy that. I still wear this jacket almost every day, when it's warm out. It's nothing but mesh. I don't even know who makes it. It says Pro Biker on the back, which always annoyed me because it seemed like, I don't know, I thought it was dumb. I always would take a Sharpie and color in that Pro Biker stuff. This is a shirt that we had made when we left from Utah to Panama. I still have the shirt.
We made it to Bahia Kino, and it's a pretty nice beach. Water's perfect, the weather's perfect. And we made some friends, and Mom and Dad, I'm bringing this one home.
There's something else here, these gloves. These are the gloves that I wore from Utah to Panama and back, and they're pretty hammered. I hated these gloves because I just bought them at a hardware store or something, and they had, every time it rained, which was often, they would turn my hands orange, and I would sit there and scrub and try to get the orange off, and it was like, no, your hands are just gonna be orange for a few days. I like them. I mean, they've been just gripped on a motorcycle handlebar for so long, they kind of have this permanent shape. of, you know, getting wet and drying out while being clutched onto a motorcycle handlebar through Central America. They have this permanent shape of my cold, dead hand, you know. They still smell pretty nasty. Still have that mildew smell from Panama. The tops are very faded, and the bottoms still have some of their color, but pretty cool gloves. Let's see what else here. These masks up here I've collected. They were not all collected while on a motorcycle trip, but I've displayed them all here because they represent some of the places that I've been. Souvenirs are tricky because you want to get something that is going to stay cool once you leave the place where you're at. For example, if you're at Disneyland and you're wearing Mickey Mouse ears, that's cool. But once you leave Disneyland, then you look like an ass because you're walking around with Mickey Mouse ears. So you got to be careful when you choose a souvenir. I chose to collect masks, which I think are cool even once you leave. You know, I can display these on the wall and they look good. This mask is from Panama. This mask is from the Czech Republic. This mask is from Laos. This mask is also from Panama. This mask is from Thailand. This mask is from the Bahamas. This mask is from, I can't remember, Guatemala probably. Looks Guatemala. This is from Iraq. I could not find a mask when I was in Iraq, so I bought this plate instead. This is from Monaco. This is from Laos, Thailand. This is from Cambodia. This is from Belize. This is from Nicaragua, and this is from, I don't know, Costa Rica. Actually, if you go to all these souvenir stores, you'll find this mask everywhere, or stuff like it. There's like a big souvenir workshop, and they turn out a lot of things end up being similar. And most of these, you know, they didn't cost me very much money, but they're cool. This one, the ones from Europe probably cost me the most. This is more like a piece of art than a mask, but I liked it. And this one, you know, you're talking about 45 euros here, which at the time, my life as a backpacker, that just almost broke me, but I'm glad I bought it because when am I ever gonna get back to Monaco, right? Some other cool souvenirs that I get, these are the cheapest souvenirs you can get, is just a piece of money. And I put it in a frame and you can flip it around. I got a frame that is glass on both sides so you can see what both sides of each of these bits of these money bills look like. I haven't been to all of these places, but I've been to most. And you know, if I'm in El Salvador and I find a bill with Che Guevara's face on it from Cuba, then I'm gonna buy it off a guy because I think it's cool. So those are the souvenirs that you should collect because Halfthrottle says so. Also, when I moved to Panama, about the same time I upgraded that camera, you can't just buy a new camera that's HD and not buy a new laptop that has the extra processing power to deal with the HD. So I bought this. It had i7, it had like 12 gigs of RAM, which really helped. I taught myself how to use After Effects with this computer. This is what I used in Panama. The battery used to be here, but one day I noticed the laptop wouldn't sit flat. The battery like blew itself up. I guess it was the heat in Panama. So no more battery for that. These are the helmet cameras that I use. This one, I liked this one, but it spent the night under underwater at the bottom of a waterfall in Panama. I went back with a mask and found it the next day, but it never really worked again. So I still use this. It's the Drift HD. Handy little helmet camera. Oh geez, I almost dropped it. Let's see, this camera bag is awesome. I love this camera bag. This camera bag has been with me. I mean, I used this camera and it lived in this camera bag. And then I used that camera and it lived in this camera bag. And now I use the GH3 and it lives in this camera bag. I've had this since 2006 if you need a camera bag, look no further than a Domke camera bag. It has been awesome. It's been through all types of climate, from desert to jungle, and it's good. I like it. This microphone over here I'm actually using to record the audio for this video. It's a Zoom H4n microphone. It's pretty good, and it's on this Halfthrottle flex arm, which is hooked up to the bike just because I wanted the microphone to be close to me. On top of it is a redhead windscreen, which was sent to me by Mr. Accidental Broadcast from Hawaii to Panama when I lived there. I still use it all the time. No reason to use it now because I'm inside, but I wanted to be able to say that Accidental Broadcast sent that to me. This is the helmet that I wore from Utah to Panama and back. One day in Mexico, in Mahahual, Mexico, we were riding from the hotel to the gas station before we hit the road and went to Belize. And I had my jacket on the back of my luggage, and I had the helmet on the mirror, just sitting on the mirror because it's so hot and humid. It wasn't really fun to wear any protective gear. So I thought, since we're gonna stop just up the road and get gas, I'll just put this on there. So as we were driving, I thought I heard the jacket almost blow off. So I reached back to put my hand on the jacket, and at the same time, the helmet blew off the handlebars and went bouncing down the road. And when that happened, it broke this side of the visor off. And so the whole rest of the trip from Belize, from southern Mexico, from the Yucatan Peninsula to Panama, to back to about somewhere in central Mexico, this thing would sit here and vibrate, and it would drive me crazy. And then one day in Mexico, I turned my head like this to check my blind spot because I was going to change lanes, and the wind grabbed it and ripped it off, and it went bouncing down the road, and I just drove the rest of the way from like central Mexico back to Arizona, where I bought a new helmet with no face shield, and I had this gnarly sunburn on this part of my face. But I one day carved with a Dremel BMW into this because BMW doesn't sell their helmets, and I was going to try to sell that to somebody as an official BMW helmet. There's some other stuff here that didn't involve my video making. I went on a trip in 2008 around the United States, and I took all my stuff. I took this camera, I took this laptop, but for some reason, I didn't film anything. I planned to, but I just kind of, once in a while, it's okay to just do something for yourself, you know? And these are the gloves I took on that trip. I rode about 7,000 miles with these gloves that cost me probably $3 at Walmart. This is the backpack. Before I was a motorcycle adventurer, I was a backpacker, and everywhere I went, I got a patch that I had sewn. I did not sew any of these on. I had someone else do it because I lack the skill or patience to learn how to sew. So there's patches from all over the world on this backpack. Only places I've been: Nicaragua, Iraq, Dubai, Guatemala, Mexico, Czech Republic, Monaco, Canada, Italy, Switzerland, Bahamas, Belize, Mexico again, Costa Rica, Honduras, El Salvador, Germany, Italy, Cambodia, Thailand, Panama, of course. That's it. It's been a really good backpack. In 2005, I went on a backpacking trip. Mitch and I, we backpacked from Costa Rica to Guatemala. Mitch flew home for school, and then I did Mexico by myself, all with that backpack. During which time, I bought this hat. And people used to, other people that I would meet at hostels would say, dude, that hat is, it just makes you look dumb. It makes you look like a dumb tourist. But that's what I was. That's kind of what I was going for. I would buy like the goofiest tourist stuff. And they're like, but if you stick out too much, you get robbed. And I'm like, I'm white, and I'm in Central America. Of course I stick out. Plus, at that time, at that age, at that time of my life, had someone robbed me, it just would have made for a cool story to tell. So I didn't really mind. I bought this, whatever this is. I don't know where I bought this hat. One of the Guatemala probably, and then this little band I had sewn on. I bought that at Tikal, the pyramids of Tikal. What else? Over here is the Iron Butt Association Award that I got in 2008 as I was riding around the United States. That's the Bun Burner 1500 Gold. That's doing 1,500 miles in less than 24 hours. Do the math. It's barely possible. I guess that's it. I guess that's all my stuff. Here's some hammocks that I used. Here's a monopod. But this is just some of the cool stuff that I used while I was traveling around the world with my motorcycle. And so for my 10 million view video, I thought I would share some of these cool things that I've gathered over the years with you. I hope you enjoyed it. Ride safe, travel far, do it soon.